Welcome back, you're here with Nate28 and this is Crossbeats Production. So this little quick tutorial is about EQ and what I want to do with EQ and show you, and also features a little bit of compression, but mainly comparing my moves with Alloy or Alloy 2 to the Neutron, Izotope Neutron plugin that's been recently released. So I want to do this video just to compare how I originally, I actually revisited my track and just listened to my chorus, and I just put Neutron on there just to see what it would do, because I want to see how it would compare to what I originally did with my vocal. And I found that the comparison between the EQ wasn't actually that different. Now if you're just looking at the EQ moves in generalization, pretty much a lot of the stuff that I did originally with Alloy was what Neutron did. Now Neutron is on the actual aggressive mode to just show you that, and it's on broadband clarity. So what I did was I hit the track assistant and it came up with the EQ moves that you can see on the screen now, and also came up with these two compressors that this one was switched on as well, but I just turned it off for the sake of showing you the video. It came up with this multiband compressor. Now with my compressor here, I didn't use multiband compression on my original compression with the vocal, but it had a single band compressor which it also used as well, but it used a different type of ratio than I used on mine. I used the 1.3 ratio, whereas this used a 10:1 ratio with a 30 knee. My attack settings are probably a little bit different to what it's got here. It's quite a fast attack that I put on mine. This one's got an even faster attack, which is 0.10 milliseconds, and it's got a really slow release. Now, especially with compression, how you attack your compressor really does affect the signal, and how you attack the EQ prior to compression also affects the signal, or vice versa. I don't want to get too much into that right now in this video. I will discuss a video purely just on EQ versus compression and which one comes first and which one should you choose first and how you choose that. And I want to do a whole entire just video on that. But I just really want to show you how this plugin Neutron I found it quite effective, and I just might actually turn that compressor off for a start and just have one compressor on, because I've got another compressor which used 10:1 on my other second compressor. Now the order of the plugins, I've got a de-esser first, which I'll probably turn off just for the sake of this because it doesn't have a de-esser on Neutron. I had the EQ second, and the exciter. Exciter is off. Everything else except for the dynamic compressor, which is on here, is on. Now you can see the lights are on, so EQ and compression, that's basically it. Now I've got an EQ and a compressor in the same kind of order, and I'll just play between mine and the Neutron track so you can hear the difference. And I'll just play it on the left chorus vocal, which is here.
Do you get it? I can't really stop it. I'm hearing what you're saying, but I feel like I'm dropping. This word you give, I receive, but I'm blocking. How do I believe? Cause I feel like ain't knocking. Do you get it? I can't really stop it. I'm hearing what you're saying, but I feel like I'm dropping. This word you give, I receive, but I'm blocking. How do I believe? Cause I feel like ain't knocking.
Okay, so as you can hear, let's go to number 2 object here and just try it with Neutron, hear the difference.
Do you get it? I can't really stop it. I'm hearing what you're saying, but I feel like I'm dropping. This word you give, I receive, but I'm blocking. How do I believe? Cause I feel like ain't knocking. Do you get it? I can't really stop it. I'm hearing what you're saying, but I feel like I'm dropping. This word you give, I receive, but I'm blocking. How do I believe? Cause I feel like ain't knocking.
Okay, so I had the first round, which was unbypassed. Then I did the second round where I bypassed and unbypassed, as you could see. I found that the sound wasn't too far off what I did. It definitely has a little bit up on what I did with the EQ, at least, because it's got a dynamic EQ, which you can do a little bit more with, and you've got a little bit extra control, you know, with dipping out certain frequencies at certain times where they're affecting the mix. Whereas with my EQ that I used for Alloy, not to say Alloy is a bad product at all, because it definitely was good when it came out, and I still think it's a good plugin. And if you're learning how to use a channel strip, this is pretty much what I would call a decent channel strip, because it does have all the sort of things that you'd have on channel strip. But anyway, with my EQ, what I did was to find the negative parts that I didn't like. I dipped them out, so I just used it's Option Alt, and you can just use a selective type of EQ. So it's basically just using like a EQ like this. So you pretty much increase the Q on your EQ, so you're bringing you're having a wide sort of Q-ish, kind of maybe 3 or 3.5 Q, something similar like that. You just move it around like that, and you basically can hear the annoying frequencies, obviously increasing the volume on that, and then you can dip it out just like that, and you would lower or reduce the Q on your EQ there. That's one way of using an EQ. Obviously this plugin has a feature similar to that, so you can just go around, hear your annoying frequencies, and you're ready to roll. Same kind of thing, like when I listen to, say for example, we'll just go back to the EQ on this, and I'll increase the frequency that it actually dipped out, and I'll show you why it did it.
Do you get it? I can't really stop it. I'm hearing what you're saying, but I feel like I'm dropping. This word you give, I receive, but I'm blocking. How do I believe? Cause I feel like ain't knocking.
So as you can see, it's that really kind of boxy sound in that area of that frequency. Now that frequency is about 880, so it's got some sort of that mid-range kind of boxy sound to it. Now they've obviously increased the sound there because that's kind of where the top end of the vocal kind of sat, especially with my vocal, because it's a little bit higher up in that spectrum there. And then they've just given it a bit of air, but they've dipped out somewhere near the 5.5, so 5, almost 6K. They dipped it out. Now if I increase that, it'll probably be a really annoying sound, so I might not do that for the video. But go to your own vocals, have a listen to your EQ. If you have Neutron, try it on the track and see what you find. If you get something similar to this, go in there and just get your increase like that and see how it sounds. And if you find that that's a really annoying frequency, study why Neutron has chosen those frequencies. Go back and think about it, and then get just a static EQ maybe, and go study that, and like get the EQ like that, and just move it across the frequencies, hear the different parts of the frequency that are frustrating or annoying to your ear, and then just dip them out and see what kind of effect that it has on your sound. That's the best way I can suggest that you use an EQ in this setting and for this type of application. There probably are other things that I've missed out. I'm sure there are, and I'm sure somebody might touch it in the comments and make some kind of deal about it, but hey, whatever. I just wanted to show you kind of how I would EQ out a vocal, and normally I would use reductive EQ first, and then later on, not in this setting, I haven't really done a whole lot with additive EQ, but I normally tend to put reductive EQ on all of the things first, and then I would add some additive EQ later on. But in this particular plugin, I just did it all kind of in the one fell swoop because it wasn't really a negative vocal in the first place. I didn't record it too bad, and I felt like it didn't harm it by adding some of the air in the top end with the shelf. So the next thing I just wanted to quickly touch on was the compressor, which I mentioned earlier. The other thing I want to show you as well in the next video is, well, not that one. I'm gonna do a review on this API 2500, which this compressor is something I've been waiting for a long time. I'm sure a lot of people have mentioned this to UAD, and they've finally brought it out. So this is awesome because I'm going to try this on some drums that I wanted to show you. But I'll review this in the next video, so stay tuned for that next video coming out. I just wanted to show you quickly that that's the one I'm going to review. Now, further to that, the compressor, basically, I just wanted to briefly go over this. Now, I had 1:3 ratio and just minimal compression. They chose some compression in a multiband compressor with 1.5, similar kind of ratio there, but then they had a different ratio on the mid-band frequency, which was at 4:1. And the compression settings, now I've got real fast attack. They had a fast attack on the low end frequency and a slow release. Sort of a fast attack, 10 milliseconds is kind of fast, and a mid-range fast-ish kind of release on the mid-range with a 50-50 split on the mid-range and a 75% split in the low end. So when I say split, I'm talking about they're mixing the original signal and the compressed signal together. I haven't done any of the mixing with this one. I probably will at some point. I just didn't do it on this at that stage. So yeah, I just wanted to show you how I originally EQ'd my vocal and then how Neutron EQ'd my vocal, and show you the difference between the two, just to give you guys some perspective on what you can do for your own videos and your own mixes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm going to do another further review on that plugin that I showed you just before. So stay tuned and peace.